Sitting down today with Will Fry, owner, founder of American Operator. Welcome to the show. Happy to have you. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. So name's Will Fry. We started American Operator about 5 years ago. It was born out of growing up in Eastern North Carolina and being surrounded by a bunch of small businesses. So not too much there besides baseball fields and tobacco fields and a lot of small businesses. About 6 or 7 years ago, a bunch of our family friends are going through the retirement motion of, I want to retire, what do I do with my business? Most of the kids in Greenville moved to Raleigh or Charlotte, Chapel Hill. And I knew growing up they were really important parts of both the economy, but also just the community. And so set out to make sure that we can preserve the American dream on Main Street. And we put together a video about a year ago that I think is kind of cool and touches both on the kind of the societal and civic reason we do what we do, as well as the economics.
All right, I'm going to play this now real quick. It's short, guys. So anyway, here goes.
Together, let us explore the stars, conquer the deserts, eradicate disease, tap the ocean depths, and encourage the arts and commerce. Let both sides unite to heed in all corners of the earth.
Today is Black Monday, the day the Dow dropped more than 500 points.
Jobs are going to go to Mexico
anyway.
The collapse of Lehman Brothers triggered turmoil in markets around the globe.
Should Goldman Sachs be trying to sell a shitty deal?
What have I become? Sweetest friend. Everyone.
So, my fellow Americans, not what your country can do for you, you can do for your country.
I would find a way.
So let me ask, is it mostly manufacturing businesses or is it like all business?
I would say we do manufacturing, distribution, and then home services are kind of the three buckets that we're in right now.
So industrial services, light industrial services.
Yeah.
I actually haven't pulled the data on this. Of the retiring people that are selling their businesses, what's the split of like media businesses or like real estate services? I actually need to look at that data.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I know that, manufacturing is higher than what it makes up in the economy if you don't filter it for who's retiring.
Yep.
And I know like Indiana, the governor...
If you don't filter it for who's retiring.
Exactly.
Got it.
And so like the governor of Indiana has set up a whole office with a budget just focused on succession of manufacturing businesses in Indiana. They have the highest per capita number of manufacturers. The kids have all been encouraged to leave the industry because like over the past 20, 30 years, NAFTA, inflation, you name it, essentially made it really, really hard to be a manufacturer in the U.S.
We did this in the
70s.
We did it to ourselves. So did you see the Wall Street Journal article about the Stanley Black & Decker plant? I think it was in Connecticut.
No.
So they made a single-sided tape measure. And like then somebody came out with a tape measure that had it was both sides. And the management team just adamantly was like, there's no value in a double-sided tape measure.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, man. I've been under a tape measure. It's been like 10 years. And I'm like, why isn't the tape on the other side? Why is there markings on the other side? Because the thing only goes in one direction. That business didn't die. The management team killed it.
Yeah.
Like normally what you would do is retool the plant. One of the big things is like airbags. Everything that was a big, every car had to have an airbag. And it's like, for some reason, and maybe this will be a question, it's a pivot career. The great people don't tend to go into manufacturing. They tend to go consulting, tech, finance, banking, like more sexy type jobs. And now that's on the college side. Interestingly, on the Gen Z side, kids are becoming techs like crazy now.
Yeah.
Like an elevator tech at this business I work with could make, definitely made 200 in the tri-state area. Someone made like 350, 400, and everyone's college. So
still a lot of work to do there on Gen Z.
What do we do? Like, what do we do? Because one of the things I found the biggest problem is the optics. It's not Gen Z specific. It's I want my date to be impressed by my job title.
Or their parents even. 79% of Gen Z feels like their parents would be disappointed if they went to the trades. So like the first and foremost, I think it's like it's a PR propaganda problem. And you have some folks working on it. Like Mike Rowe started Mike Rowe Foundation. He does amazing work. So I think like that's piece one of the problem. Piece two is like, okay, if you do the PSYOP campaign to convince these parents that, hey, this actually may be better than going into, a liberal arts school, hating the country, and then working for McKinsey, and instead maybe you should do something more productive.
Attacked.
Yeah. Then it's like, okay, well then how do you get them in the chair quicker? And that's where like occupational licensing in our country is absurd. It is actually absurd. It's like 8 years to become a master plumber in Texas. And anytime you try to reform it, and Abbott tried to reform it, you get visceral pushback from the unions.
Why?
Because they get paid an hourly rate for registered apprenticeships from DOL. So they stretch. They actually want more people into the industry. They just want it to take 8 years. And so the only folks that have had any success, Louisiana had a bill to modernize their trade licenses. Unions and current owners came in and killed it. And so the only success that I've seen both in Texas and Louisiana is you partner with the state technical colleges.
Yep.
And you say, hey, if you go through here, you get a fast track and a journeyman, so you can like strip off for 4 years. But it's messed up. It makes no sense. 25% of the population in the U.S. now needs a license from state or federal government to work. Yeah, and it was 5% in 1950.
This buddy of mine on the submarine became an attorney, and he was with a nonprofit. I forget what it was, but he would sue on behalf of people that were doing jobs that you really don't need a license for.
Yeah.
One of them was like textured hair braiding.
Yeah.
This was down in Texas. They said you have a cosmetologist license when people just come to our house. And he's like a hardcore libertarian. Like, you do not need a license to braid hair. Like, you don't need a barber license to braid hair, right?
Yeah. I was just in Washington, so a bunch of the stats are like in my short-term memory, but I think it's like 350 days on average to get licensed as a cosmetologist and 26 days to be an EMT tech.
That doesn't sound right.
No.
I mean, I can make an argument that you're really teaching cosmetologists like more of an art.
Sure.
And it takes more.
But why does, and the continuing ed, I don't know.
So I'm super into this. So the dental lab business we bought, one of the value creation levers is creating more continuing education from the lab to the dentist, because the dentists have to get an obnoxious amount of CE each year, and so do the certified dental technicians. And then one of my pipe dream ideas is partnering with a community college to create a pipeline from the community college, become certified dental technicians.
Nice.
And they could handle the classroom stuff. Sure. They get an internship. You can basically get 3 months, go, no go, and then they become a tech. And I mean, it's certainly medium family income level. But the interesting thing is, though, is I've unpacked this. If you look at the jobs, like I pour molds to make the teeth, not sexy. But the people on the CAD designers are very proud that they're CAD designers. You make sense? So it's there's all this it's not just like a really easy problem. There's all this like cultural stuff to overcome.
And there's so many special interests. Like, I'll give you a horror story in California about 5 or 6 years ago, or before then. You could have a certain like solar panel installation license. It was relatively easy to get. You could install solar panels and you could wire up the solar panel to the battery. PG&E, so the utility out there, teamed up with the electrician labor union. And they're like, we want to drive these guys out because they're taking people off the grid. The electricians also wanted to drive them out because they wanted to say, hey, you need an electrical license to do that. So they pushed 450 small businesses underwater, like shut down, because they, out of nowhere, were like, hey, you need to now have a license that takes 4 to 6 years to get. Berkeley fought it, UC Berkeley, and they did a study because, of course, what the union says is like, oh, it's a consumer safety issue. You're going to have all this dangerous stuff.
Safety issue.
And they did a study that proved two things. One, they had 0 safety incidences under the 450 that had this license. And two, when you put more regulation in place, people try to do it-yourself repairs at home and shock the bejesus out of themselves. And so it kind of backfires.
As a former electrician, I felt very comfortable working on my own house. So in general, and people have asked me multiple times, I'm generally pro-union.
Yeah.
Even today. Not for Publix, but I can run a change program in a union shop or a non-union shop, doesn't matter. When I was working at ConocoPhillips, had my coveralls on, pocket of the contract in my back pocket.
Yeah.
I was like, nope, this is what you got to do. Nope, this is what you got to do. And those guys respected me and I respected them. I think that's more top-down, like board-level push than the actual tax. Better said this way, if I worked at a chemical plant, a refinery, or a nuclear reactor, I would not be an operator or a supervisor that was not union covered. And some supervisors are what's called an uprate because you get some crazy MBA in there, engineer, try to fast track their career, want to take shortcuts. I want an organization to stop them from doing safety issues. I saw some dumb things by very junior engineers, like 25-year-old engineers. That's like, no, we're not going to be doing that, which was the same culture I had in the Navy on the submarine. In the founder of the nuclear Navy wanted no rank in the reactor, but you're not going to change the Navy.
Yeah.
But I was, one time I was like, he was like, shift the electric plant, doesn't matter. And I'm like, sir, can't do that right now, the battery. And he's like, well, no, you need to do it. I'm like, nope, can't do that, sir, you can relieve me.
Yeah.
Right? And that's a very important when you're working in something that can kill you in a refinery. Sure. So I'm pretty pro-union. I mean, I every deal guy has sat up at 2 a.m. in the village, maybe at the Spaniard, and sketched out a fund on a cocktail napkin. I have an idea for a union fund. I'll tell you offline.
Okay.
So what's your next move? Like, what's going on right now in your day-to-day life? What are you working on?
We're busy. We're just partnering with a bunch of retiring owners to help them find local successors and stop private equity from eating the world. We want to make sure that a lot of these businesses stay in the hands of folks who live in the community and people who actually know how to run them.
So what's your next move? Tell me about a deal or an investment you backed. You would tell me about a really interesting capital stack structure. I'd love to dive into more of the details. I think there's a lot of misconceptions. I was having a discussion with one of the placement agents, and what we used to call a surge fund is merging into independent sponsor a bit.
Sure.
Where it's two guys. Who are you backing? Tell me about a deal. Tell me about a success. Anyway, let's peel back the end.
Yeah, I mean, the whole goal here is stop private equity from eating up Main Street and back the next generation of operators to become owners. Like, this country was founded as a nation of owners. I think what keeps the American dream alive. The problem that we saw, we spent a bunch of time, we did over 110 kind of self-funded search, independent sponsor type deals.
110 deals.
Not that we bought. We are running a large equity capital markets platform where folks will come and raise equity. Is that we would see one of two things. We see finance bro tries to buy a business they know absolutely nothing about. They have 20 tabs in their LBO model, but they've never even set foot in a metal fab. Yeah. Or we have someone who's more blue collar from the industry. They would make a really great operator. They don't even have Excel downloaded, and their counsel is their next door neighbor who practices divorce law or something. It's just it's absolute mayhem. And so it's like, okay, well, if we're trying to achieve this like ambitious mission and do it at scale, the current models aren't going to work. If you look at it from like a retiring owner's perspective as well, the searcher community, in my opinion, it's the worst deal in the history of deals. You're working with someone who's never bought a business, never operated a business before, has no committed capital, and is going to try to like YOLO it using SBA financing at 90% LTV. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
So somebody asked me overnight, like, do you use seller financing? I'm like, I never have put that down on paper one time. My goal is to get the founder to believe in the next wave. And so I went to the McGuire Woods conference, call it a couple years ago. I went to the Emerging Manager Conference.
Nice. And you didn't kill yourself afterwards.
I went to another one. It was, let's just say, there was a bimodal distribution of people there. And it's not really a place. It's a great conference. I learned a lot. I met a lot of people. I had fun. I didn't feel like it was a place that fit for me. I learned about the fund and sponsor model. I mean, I was naive. I was an operator. I didn't even know. I get into private equity, get a boardroom. There was this guy on the board that sold a paint company to a big box retailer years ago and made a bunch of money. And he had like a fundless team. He had like 3 MDs, and he had like analysts and associates, and then he would call whenever he had a deal ready to go. He would literally make like 5 or 10 calls. On his cell phone and go, hey, you want in or out? Okay, great. How much do you want? And he was cutting people back. That's the dream. And so who are you backing? Tell me about the ideal person the American operator's backing.
I would say we have 3 archetypes, if you will. So about a third of the deals are a current employee that we're backing to become the majority owner.
Okay. That's awesome.
So like we have a business under contract that should close here in the next week or so. That's a peanut processing plant in Central PA. The GM there has been there since 2008 or 2009. He's absolutely dialed, really, really great. And he essentially runs the show. Yeah. He's not a leverage finance whiz. He doesn't know how to structure an acquisition. He doesn't have a ton of capital in his bank account. Like, we have an affordability crisis. And so if you've been making $150K, but you have 3 kids and you're putting through college, you don't really have much in the way of savings. So about a third of those. The other 2 archetypes are operating partners of lower middle market shops who've done 1 or 2 deals and they're like, hey, I want to get mine.
Yeah.
Like I've spent time working for the man. It's time to be able to kind of change my life. And then the third is current owners of really small businesses. We're essentially leapfrogging their ownership journey.
Wait, say that again?
Current owners of very small businesses
Yep.
where we're leapfrogging their ownership journey. So to give you an example, one of the things that we can chat about publicly that was on our website is a paint contractor that we bought in Wyoming. The operator that we backed there actually lived in Arizona and was running a business that was probably like a 10th of the size of the one that we bought. And so our pitch to him is like, hey, you've cut your teeth hiring and firing crew. You've cut your teeth showing that you can estimate profitably, but you're like slaving away for a couple $100,000 max of earnings. We're going to drop you into this business that makes a whole lot more. And on day one, we give everyone a 10% equity stake that doesn't vest. So it's theirs. It participates in the distributions. And so your kind of take home proceeds on an annual basis will be at parity with what you're doing today.
So you have like a permanent capital structure-ish.
We do. Yeah.
Okay.
So we have equity at American Operator Holdings Co., which is the top co. We typically put around 30 to 40% of equity into each deal.
Okay.
And then we have a DDTL structure that at its simplest form, we draw on it each time for the acquisition.
So you have a DDTL attached to the holding company.
Yep.
And you draw it out to add debt to the new acquisition.
Exactly.
How many are in your portfolio acquisitions now?
We have 11 businesses on the balance sheet. 3 of them
On the balance sheet?
On the balance sheet,
Okay.
yeah. 3 of them are full operate-to-own deals in this structure. And then we have another 5 under contract closing in the next 60 days. So
What do you say, 20 on your staff?
Yeah, we have 20 on the team. I mean, we spend all day on the road.
Good Lord.
I just ping pong my way from Austin, leaving Sunday night.
How many flights have you done this year?
I don't know. A couple dozen. Easy.
I've done like 60 this year already.
Yeah.
I did 75 last year.
Yeah.
No, the reason I'm asking is if you said 11 and you're going to go to 16.
Yeah.
So what's the process for you? I have like 5 questions. What's the process for you managing those 11 assets? Is it reporting? Are you injecting some sort of talent or connections into each one? Like what do you do as a value add other than capital? Because I know it's more than that. 'Cause I've been following you on Twitter for a couple of years.
Yeah. There's a couple things to unpack there. One thing that we haven't chatted about, which is probably the smarter thing that we've done. We've done a lot of moronic things, but this is a smart thing, was we went to a bunch of current retired owners, told them what our mission is, like stop the steal on Main Street, the private equity version, help us back the next generation of owners. What these folks do, and the requirement is your business has to gross $10 million top line, and you have to have been an owner of the business. So you like actually know what it's like to be in the saddle.
You have to prove that you've grown the business and have some ownership stake.
Exactly.
Okay.
They help us diligence the targets, pick the operator, and sit on the board of managers where they act as quasi-therapists, quasi-coach, quasi-whatever. They are insane. Like, they help us close deals because a bunch of
because you got a real
our
guy
team
there.
looks like me, right? Like, we're not super gray-haired. So they help us give authority there. They help us pick the operator because they can underwrite the soft skills that we're not going to know. Like, a funny one that you'll get a kick out of is like, for a lot of home services, the test is like, would you allow your wife to be home alone with the owner of this business?
That's a really
It's a good test.
interesting
Good test.
litmus test. Who makes that?
With our advisors, they're the ones who's like, this is what you need to be testing for. Like, sure, make sure they can estimate and they know how to like hire, fire, crew.
That's a real.
But like, would you be comfortable with this guy? You're a state away. He's with your wife.
So, a friend of mine's a neuroscientist, and women get the creeps around psychopaths, whether they're men or women.
Totally.
And supposedly, she says they might have some data that if you use this too much, that part of your lower brain, your lizard brain, it becomes like a little desensitized. You can't tell because you're used to processing words, not like around.
You know a good hack for this? One of the advisors told me this one. He was like, if you're looking for an operator near a target, you find the local supply house. So like if it's painted Sherman Williams, whatever, fill in the blank. You go in there and you find like the pretty lady behind the counter, and you ask her, of all the guys who come in here each day, who creeps you out the least and you'd actually want to be friends with? Then you go find that guy and you hire him because he may not actually be the best technically, but he's going to get all of the deals.
That is so freaking funny.
I know.
So it's
nominally sexist, but I was like, I get your point.
No, look, our mind works when we're not thinking consciously. And one of my favorite TV shows was House. Do you remember this?
Yeah, yeah.
And there was an episode where there was a psychopath on the show, and what's her name? Olivia Wilde.
Yeah.
Got the creeps around her. And obviously it's a TV show, but like that's actually real. So we were looking at a deal that actually I want to show you because I think it's perfect size for you.
Yeah.
And I did the plant walk. I did my thing, and we went to dinner, and it was supposed to just be me, the banker, and this guy. And he was like, "Hey, I hope you don't mind. My wife was finishing an open house. She's in the area," and he brought his wife to dinner.
Yeah.
Now, why did he do that? Why did he do that? To figure out what she thought about me.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty good check, right? And it's an interesting thing to find the operators. Like have that line.
I mean, now in our process, and I'll get back to answering the kind of value add question, both for the retiring owner and the operator that we back, we have to have dinner with their spouse. Because what we were finding is that like it was a game of telephone and their spouse had one interpretation, which wasn't necessarily true. Or we're negotiating with one half of the party who doesn't even know why they're asking for XYZ, but it's because their spouse is, the real one driving the ship.
Yeah, I went round and round about do we announce the portfolio company transaction or not?
Yeah.
And I remember myself saying, in the dental lab business is probably like more female centric, probably 60-40 men, women. The senior people tend to be men. And I was like, guys, we have to get a letter because their spouse is going to have questions and they want to see what's in print.
Yeah.
I've had that before. I actually don't even know like what the legality of this is. I mean, I just posted on the Fair Credit Report. I'm not an attorney, by the way. And I met a lot of executives, and a couple times one of the firms I work with flew the family over.
We fly them out to Austin.
It was a rule.
Yeah.
Not the family. It was a rule at my old firm. If we were putting in an SPA binding bid, in S&B world, like we never called it a LOI. I got roasted for that once. The management team had to go live to headquarters and meet everybody and go to dinner with them. And look, everybody wants to work from home, and I roast work from home. You might be able to open a relationship over Zoom. Yeah. You ain't closing one over Zoom.
Oh, yeah. Our team get on the explicit plane. It's kind of the saying.
Okay, so tell me what
so anyways,
your ideal
on the value add, then we'll do like pre-close. We modernize some of the back office, so we'll have them all on Gusto for payroll.
I don't know Gusto.
It's
ADP.
It's a better version of ADP. Yep. And then we have everyone use Erebor, which is Palmer Luckey's new bank, under the hood as the checking account. Everyone's on Ramp. I just did Ramp.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's wild.
It's impressive. They have a few things they need to fix on multi-entity holdco support, but we'll save those for later.
Yeah. We talk. The Tampa guy that covers us.
Yeah.
Look, those guys hustle.
Yeah,
they
hustle.
Really hustle.
They hustle. So we do all that stuff pre-close so that we're ready to go live, and then typically we have like a very dialed integration stabilization process. If you think about like American Opera and what we need to do, we need to go meet a bunch of retiring owners, get them hyped about what we stand for, why they want to work with us, why they want to take a discount to Alpine offering 12 times or whatever. Second thing we need to do is go meet a bunch of really great operators who would be fits to actually run these businesses. And then as we underwrite and the deal closes, we need to be really good at actually like supporting and managing the ownership transition. Almost all of those pieces, the like operator sourcing, the deal underwriting, the supply sourcing, we had built out over the past couple of years in more of a picks and shovels model before we launched this thing.
Yep.
The one thing we hadn't done is M&A integration, because in SBA finance deals, you don't really have any positive control if you're not the searcher.
Yep.
And you don't even really have much negative control anymore. What we found, though, is that if you just drop a fish out of water into an M&A integration, an operator, and you're like, all right, you're the boss now, have fun, they're going to do one of two things. They're either like way too cool as a cucumber, and they're just going to watch the world burn. This is actually one of the vet things. It's like once you've gotten shot at, like your cortisol apparently no longer goes up, and so it's like, oh, everything's trending fine. Or you're like, I'm going to hit every lever in the business and change everything. So now we have this kind of program where our team flies out. I was actually just at one outside of Philadelphia, there for the first week, do a bunch of kind of cookie cutter stuff that's across all the deals. Then we have 3 or 4 things that we want to do from a value creation standpoint that we identified. The first 30 days, like validating those, like are they actually good ideas? Sometimes they're terrible ideas. And then we start executing against that. The operator for the first handful of months doesn't have their full division of authority. And the thing is like, hey,
say more. What do you mean?
They
you
can't
tell
make,
them?
yeah, we
Okay.
lock down the business essentially. It's like, hey, your kind of discretionary CapEx, marketing, budget, hire, fire responsibility is reduced until you hit the base case KPIs for 4 weeks in a row.
What KPIs?
So for each business that we partner with, we typically have 2 to 3 KPIs that essentially drive our scenarios. And so like it could be like bid rate, it could be crew utilization on more of like a project-based business.
Yep.
And we want to know like, hey, if we're at the base case, the business is somewhat stabilized. We've gone through the checklist of stuff that we do pre and post close. The advisor is like, yeah, the operator's good to go. Then we back off and it's like, hey, it's your show to run. We're just there to help you.
So I want to show you, and hopefully we can project this. This is in our pitch book, the model of onboarding that we have where it's fat at the beginning. And so I call that a post-close assessment. The metaphor I use is, if you'd invite me over to your house, your man cave with your wife,
Yeah.
I bring a buddy, we're downstairs, you got a 70-inch television, you got a beer cooler over here, you got your easy chairs here,
Yeah.
and then this, and I go, oh, whoa, dude, and I just went there.
Yeah.
Whoa, you're doing it all wrong. This chair needs to be here and there because that way you'll be equidistant to the bathroom and this, and it'll be like a better setup. And the chips, you could really use some guac. There's only salsa.
Yeah.
All of that may be true, and you'll never invite me back to your house again. And so when we bought this dental lab business, I told her, I was like, I'm going to see basically every site. I hit 13 sites. So we did onboarding first week of January, strategy session second week of March.
Yeah.
I hit 13 sites, did ride-alongs with 2/3 of the sales team, saw some suppliers that were there, kind of critical suppliers, and that does 2 things. Number 1, I actually get to know what I bought. Number 2, look, it's just showing respect. At Toyota, when they hire a new engineer, they do something called the circle exercise, where they like draw a figurative circle on the ground, and the engineer just stands there and looks at the line. Because you can't just take the fence down. You have to ask why the fence was there, and then take it down if it needs to be taken down. But okay.
And it takes time for these things to show results, and in that time, you can lose the people. So if you don't establish the trust baseline,
I agree with you. So what I always tell so I had an issue with like people not making plans, like long-term plans at my old shop. They're like, well, I'm like, dude, you're not going to see EBITDA results for 9 months. So we got to set up action steps for the first 3 months, then some leading indicators for the next 3, timings, más o menos. And then you'll start seeing the real indicators, like the lagging indicators go up. But you basically have to predict the future for everybody. You write a plan, here's what I'm going to do, here's what's going to happen, here's what we're going to get, and then check your actions to that plan. But most people that are entrepreneurial kind of run everything on feel. I run my team too much on feel. And when it goes up, ask me more. I didn't quite catch what's an ideal company for you to buy. Like, what's the ideal founder that you want to transition? What's the ideal situation for you guys? Not sector, like kind of a deal.
So now it's all retirement-driven sales. So they're all selling to retire. Their kids don't want to take over the business for whatever reason, or they don't think their kids can take over the business. Also happens. From a size perspective, we're looking at things between like $2 and $10 million of enterprise value.
Yeah.
So typically on the lowest end, like $750K of earnings, all the way up to around 1.5, 2.
Yeah.
And then we're cost conscious because of our model.
You mean like multiple costs?
Yeah.
Okay. Like
Yeah.
what range of multiples?
Our average is sub 4.
That's wild. Like what's the biggest
1.7.
EBITDA? 1.7 EBITDA.
Yeah.
That's a heavy lift.
And the reason for that is we are not playing the multiple arbitrage game on an opco level.
No.
And we want these folks to become majority owner. And so if you look at the profile of our return, it looks way more hybrid value, borderline credit than it does equity, because we're essentially transferring our ownership interest to that operator programmatically each year.
By growth.
It doesn't even have to grow for that to happen. It's based off levered free cash flow. It starts with 20% of levered free cash flow. We're giving you that value in equity.
Play this back to me. I'm not a finance guy by trade. You got a DDTL that you're basically taking an R bond to the business to get paid back your DPI you want at about a what percent return? 12, 14? I'm asking not to.
Like I would say we're probably targeting right now more 19% or so.
Okay.
And we're like underwriting very conservative growth. So we did a ton of deals and kind of self-funded search, but every sponsor's model is up and to the right, 20% CAGR first year. We have the data. Normally it's actually down 10%, flat, and then it's like maybe you get your feet under yourself. So we underwrite that. We're like, until we can prove that we're better than average, let's assume we're average.
We underwrote the J curve on this deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So our like 10-year CAGR comes out to around a 5-6% from an EBITDA basis. And so it's very conservative underwriting from that perspective.
Have you had a bagel yet?
No.
Great. No. Have you had a home run?
No.
Okay. So it's all, how many exits?
Bagel, like we're not fully exiting the deals.
Oh,
right?
so you just run it in perpetuity. And then you keep 30% for
exactly. And so then our goal is like hopefully sometime in 28 is to list the company as some version.
Your holdco vehicle.
Popco, yeah.
I got a guy you got to talk to.
As kind of a proxy for the American Dream on Main Street.
What's the AUM?
Equity. Right now, like sub
total
100.
EV. Total EV. I mean, what's total EV?
Probably sub 100.
Okay, so I got 100% have to meet. He helped set up my old funds, kind of semi-liquid. You have to meet this.
Right.
This is a prescription, not a recommendation. You have to meet it. It's one of the best structured attorneys of all time.
I love it.
Okay, I got a question from Twitter.
Okay.
You hate brokers.
Allegedly
hate brokers. Jackie. Hi, Jackie.
Hi, Jackie. I'm sorry.
So tell me the problems. Tell me, like, bucket brokers into, like, 3 categories. Or 4, whatever, X categories.
I would say there's probably 3 brokers. One are the great brokers, which Jackie's in.
For sure.
Those folks take it professionally. They typically come from either finance or actual business ownership. They're typically a little bit on the younger end, so I'd say like 30 to 55-ish.
Yeah.
They typically are running independent shops with a handful of people. That would be group 1. Group 2 are the kind of rent-a-cops out there where there's a ton of people who decide they want to get into brokering. There's a lot of franchise concepts out there nowadays. And
there's a franchise brokering. I actually didn't realize this.
Dude, really?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, there's so many like franchise brokerage systems
like
where you buy territories.
I had no idea.
And then they take a rate. Yeah. We can talk about that later.
That's amazing.
So that's amazing for the franchisor.
I'm surprised and astounded.
Check them out. So that's kind of group 2. Some of them may ultimately become great and move into the first category. The worry with them is they have like the faux authority of knowing what they're doing because they're actually at a business brokerage. They typically don't really understand finance. They may not have run a business before. And a lot of them, if you look in the background, were like insurance salesmen before, car salesmen before, so on and so forth. So they're good at selling things, but in terms of like actually doing some of the relationship management stuff, maybe not so good. And then you have kind of like the third group, which are like, brokering is not my primary job, but I got a fish on
real estate
on
agents, and they do a deal or two maybe every year or so.
Yeah.
I bumped into them. I didn't know it was franchise. What is it, like benchmarkers? I actually don't know.
I think Sunbelt is one of them. Transworld is one of them.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
It's super interesting.
Yeah. So like a lot of the agents will start 100% commission only, and then they'll like work up into getting a salary, like a structure like any other brokerage. But it's like, hey, if this is like my blood, sweat, and tears into my identity, it's what I've poured everything into, I'm going to let some guy YOLO his first business sale who knows nothing about business. The second issue, which is not a critique of brokers as individuals, but is a critique on the market, and I don't think it's solvable, is this 12-month exclusive contract.
I've never even heard of this.
So most sell-side brokers will sign an exclusivity agreement to represent you with the sellers. It makes sense because they're not charging retainer up front, and they want to make sure they're going to invest all this time and blah, blah, blah.
It's so like that's like an agreement to rent an apartment in New York with like a finder's agent before
before you even know if they can perform. The issue is less so. Part of the issue is like maybe they have no idea what they're doing. They're not being helpful at all, which definitely happens. The other issue is that then you get into the pricing problem, which is that no one knows what their business is worth because it's opaque. I don't think it's a solvable problem. I think it's just going to be that way. So then I come to the broker and I say, what is my business worth? And the broker says, well, what do you need to hear to sign a 12-month exclusive?
Say that, but he says it.
Yeah. And so then you have this thing where like if you track it over time, and we did for fun, we did a little project on this. the prices start super high and they drop slow, and then the goodwill evaporates between the broker and the owner. The owner's super upset with the buyers. So I think there's just like some structural issues there. Not to say that there aren't, like, there are phenomenal brokers. Jackie's a great broker. Clint Fiore, amazing broker. The guys out, Max Fryer out at Calder's in the Midwest, like phenomenal. Even in the Transworld system, they're really, really great brokers. But I think by and large, maybe the great ones typically move to lower middle market and out of brokerage territory, and you just kind of have this multi-level marketing scheme at the franchisors. But,
so it's super interesting because as the search funders are calling themselves independent sponsors,
you should fight back.
Did you see my post?
No.
I made a post. I want to be a funnel sponsor, not an independent sponsor. I'll have Earl. We're going to make Earl like Jamie on Rogan. Young Jamie. Can you
pull this up?
Can you pull this up for us, Earl? I love that. And I made a post. It's like, because I was like bothering me because like this guy I know, it was ex-McKinsey guy. I was like, yeah, I'm a funnel sponsor. He's like, independent sponsor. I'm like, I don't need a participation trophy, dude.
Yeah.
Like, because it seems like you're making a choice not to raise the fund. Like it's a conscious decision.
Yeah, it's like, no one will give you money.
No one's giving me $350 million.
No, but it's also it's
no
similar
track
to
record.
like in 2020 when we were ZERP era and everyone wanted to do a venture-backed startup. Everyone would add stealth startup to their LinkedIn.
Oh my God, it's amazing.
The independent sponsor is today's stealth startup.
Yeah,
you call yourself an independent sponsor.
An independent sponsor.
Or sure, it's looking for a business to buy.
That is,
it's like, okay.
I actually think searchers not as scummy as independent sponsor, because searchers, like,
they at least plan to operate.
Yes, exactly, and they're at least owning the fact that they are coming out of college and don't know anything.
Yeah.
And want to learn it by working at the company. The problem, when I went there, and I met some great people on the LP side and on
there's some great. They're easy.
I don't want to
similar. I don't want them to think I hate them either. I don't hate brokers or independent sponsors.
I met people at a couple different conferences that I'm like, I wouldn't let you run a freaking ice cream truck. Like one of the guys that you say in a boardroom, he's like, that guy couldn't run a bath. And like, I would never give these guys keys to anything. And I don't know how they think they're going to charm a 60-year-old guy that runs a machine shop.
But what I've noticed is that they're used as stalking horses to drive up bids for people who are serious and know what they're doing.
Interesting.
That's not true when you're in a really hot market where like some of these huge lower middle market roll-ups can pay 10 times and like they don't need a 6 times stalking horse. But we've encountered numerous times where this guy who's never bought a business before and is going to use SBA financing, told me he's going to pay something. I'm like, dude, the math doesn't DSCR. I know the loan product of the SBA. Like it's not going to happen.
You literally just gave me look. Irrational bitter risk is now a thing that I have to worry about. Thanks.
Yes.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But at some point, they'll stop doing ETA courses, and there'll be something else to do at business school.
That's true. That's actually true.
Maybe AI consultant will be next.
That's gonna be big.
Yeah.
So I was looking at a factory in Wisconsin. So I didn't know if I was going to close Apex, and Apex has 3 sites in Wisconsin.
Yeah. Congrats, by the way,
dude.
As I told you, I know Tony.
Wait, who do you know?
Tony from Dandy.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Y'all should chop it up.
We should definitely chop.
He's the man.
Yeah, we're gonna have to cut this out.
Okay.
I'll explain. We should definitely. I'll tell you later.
Yeah. Okay.
And I was in Wisconsin, and I was in 20 miles away from the site, and I was looking at a GLP-1 manufacturing site. Somebody came in. I think it was a P firm or at least some kind of merchant bank or something. And we gave them a good offer, a really good offer. We gave them a MIP with a home run clause. Yeah. And they just needed capital equipment, and they had to buy the building, and we gave them good. The broker, and they were basically going to own 20% of the new business at close with a path to 35. The broker didn't understand the LOI, and I negotiated with myself because he didn't communicate it right, because I kicked up to 25. And I was so pissed off at myself because the broker wasn't sophisticated enough to convey the message that these guys were going to get the deal a century.
Yeah.
And they went with other guys that gave them, after I negotiated with myself, like an idiot, the other guys gave them a 10 million more headline number. And then I was I knew they had exclusivity for 45 days, and my deal guy, who is puppet master of the gods,
Yeah.
was like, we should text them. We haven't heard anything. We haven't seen an announcement. And I texted them, a deal broke. And they lost the deal. And it's just, that was the only bad experience I had with a broker. I had some great experience with a broker, but he literally didn't understand my LOI.
Yeah.
They didn't get an attorney.
At least you had a direct line. The worst is when it's a bad intermediary who's trying to play shuttle diplomacy and just butchering it on either side. Rather than just make the intro and then get out of the way, which is par for the course for making 10% of the business purchase.
It's 10%?
On Main Street size deals, yeah.
So there was another one. We had this rubber extrusion business locked up, or close to locked up. Like we're LOI submitted, and the banker would not get the founder on the phone. He was like really trying to be intro. And I had a senior advisor that gave us this deal. We were going to give him a layman, but they had told him a $6 million number 2 years earlier. Yeah. Or no, sorry, not 6. They told him a $30 million number off 6 in EBITDA.
Sure.
But it stayed flat, and EBITDA went down a little bit.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, I have to take 30. And we're like, and my capital partner was like, we're absolutely not giving you 30. We'll do 25. I get this scathing email from the broker with an attorney that says, clear every bit of data off this, wasted our time. So, okay, those are my 2 bad brokers. But I have a couple, the broker.
Some of them are phenomenal. I mean, it's just like everything.
I want to do a deal with Jackie. Like, she's spectacular.
Yeah, she says she has a deal for me.
Well, what the hell are you waiting for? Stop trolling her.
No, I'm not trolling her. I made one post.
Well, that's we were talking when she did the podcast about she doesn't understand why people rip brokers.
I mean, we're also ripping anyone right now. So,
we're ripping everyone. So what do we do to fix brokers? So what? Okay, here's a question. What feedback would you give Jackie?
Jackie's probably fine.
Okay, what feedback would you give a broker? Do you have a broker that you close a deal with that you wish you could give him feedback and it was miserable? Yeah, so get the worst one.
I mean, like one is, I think there's kind of like two things at play. Post LOI being countersigned. Hopefully you don't go radio silent. Some brokers will just make an intro and then just piece because they have exclusivity. They're not actually helping manage.
They're not PMO in the process.
Yeah, they're not running the process. So it just chips away at the owner. And then one of 2 things happen. The owner gets such little goodwill in the tank that they just want to like walk over silly stuff.
Over the broker's behavior.
Or 2, the whip dries up because the owner has no like time to actually run the business. They're essentially managing, DDQ, like all that type of stuff.
You've had this happen with a signed to LOI and the owner got distracted.
Yeah.
And they stopped shipping. You said whip.
They're selling project-based work.
Why do you like project-based business?
I don't love them, but there are a lot of them and they trade at low multiples and, you can structure around it. But anyways, so that's thing one. Thing 2 is like just being on the ball of communicating quickly and escalating and just like good expectation management. So I think it requires a lean, like anything in life. If you're going to be good at it, you got to lean into it. You got to be proactive. You got to be on the ball.
So we were working at this pharmaceutical manufacturer, or the pharmaceutical deal that died. And candidly, if I look back, I knew we couldn't wrangle these guys.
Yeah.
And I dropped Ben at the asset as a PMO because they would say things like, "Oh, we can't talk to you for 2 weeks."
Yeah.
And the broker wouldn't get in there. He wasn't a bad guy.
Yeah.
But he wouldn't get in there.
It just slows everything down.
But let's be action focused. What do? You've done 11 of these. How do you add grease to the system to make it go better?
Yeah.
What do you do? What's the plan?
I mean, for us, I think like the current bottleneck is we're growing like team, so the talent at the top co, because we're just always on the road. Okay. And so I have a bone to pick about how private equity structures their golden handcuffs. They're really good at it for their investments team. Like the co-invest stuff where you co-invest into the deals, and then if you leave the private equity shop, it gets bought back at par, is genius.
Oh, it's like, you lose.
It's genius and evil.
You lose all your bonus.
Yeah.
Yeah. So old.
And some of these private equity shops will give you a line that you can
all
draw on, so you're actually out of the money. It's not just that you're getting your money.
Oh yeah,
back.
absolutely.
It's like you're net down.
Oh wait,
it's insane. I just found out.
You just found this out. This is not news to me.
Yeah.
It's
criminal.
My old firm, we called it carry, but it wasn't. It was synthetic cash incentives because they had so many products. I had to put no money in, and so
But if you walked, you lose it now. Or was it fair market value?
Vesting schedule. No, vesting schedule,
Okay.
and then it pays. Too complicated to talk about. I had people, because remember, carried interest is 20% tax, capital gains. I had people, but I didn't have to take my bonus, put it in there. I didn't have to. Look, it's a más o menos, right? But I don't think any vintage in 21, 22, 23 is going to pay any carry.
Yeah.
I do not think that.
Yeah. I mean, we've had success sniping people from private credit right now.
I love the private credit guys.
They're great. Yeah.
Way better.
They're great.
They just want their money back if there's a problem.
Yeah, and then kind of the senior associate VP level is fine. Like what I found challenging is kind of more on the principal level. If they're great, they're very hard to get, because like for me, what I care about is like three things. One is like you got to be good at EQ, because we're flying to like middle of nowhere and like having dinner at the owner's house with their spouse, and like you got to be like fun and a character and able to like bring that out of them. Two is like you got to be smart and just have a bunch of reps, because a lot of it's just like what landmine not to step in. And then the third is like I want some folks who can kind of like run a couple deal leads under them.
How many people in your org? You said 20?
Yeah.
What's the split of like support team? I don't like support. I like infrastructure. And like principal VP, like, and what are the roles? I'd love to dive deeper.
Yeah. I would say probably about like 11 are tied to like actually getting deals done.
11 investment professionals.
No, like we have 5 investment professionals, but then in the like non-support, I would put like all of our biz dev team, all of the like advisor program sourcing and management,
So
and then operator sourcing.
Full-time employees, 20?
Yeah, 21.
Okay, 1099 or W-2?
W2.
Awesome. Okay.
And we give them all equity in the top co.
How much?
I mean, varies, not a ton.
Sorry, I mean, how much of the top co? You and someone else founded it, or was it straight you?
It's just me, but we have
you got a partner.
we have investors.
Oh, no. So you own 100% of the top co originally.
Until we raise money, yeah.
And how much did you give away?
We've given away a good bit of it now. Yeah.
How much of the top co is in the employees that are not founders?
Between there, it's definitely above 10. I want to, it's a 2-digit number.
Like nobody does that. Why did you feel compelled to do that? I was.
Well,
like,
I think everything that we're doing here is like a little bit orthogonal. I think like I believe that ownership matters. Like ownership, you have better decisions. It's part of how the country works, ranging from business ownership to home ownership, fill in the blank. So I think that matters. I think the other thing is like we're not going to be able to pay people boatloads of cash right now. And you're going to have to take the trade that you believe in what we're doing and how it's going to work out. And then that you also take ownership over making it work out. And so like it goes up if you make better decisions. If we buy a bunch of duds and then we have to dilute Topco, like that's bad for everyone. Additionally, if we like hire a bunch of fancy people who do absolutely nothing all day, that increases parent OPEX, which reduces consolidated EBITDA. So like it's a nice kind of like there are trade-offs around every corner. So yeah.
All right.
It vests, right? Like it's not like, you're getting it all up front. It vests over 4 years.
Yeah. All right. Tell me about like the hardest day of starting this up. When's the day you said,
I don't know. Like every day kind of sucks.
Well, every day's a
but
Friday
like I'm
Monday.
a masochist. Like I'm like, let's go. So I dealt with a coup earlier this week.
The coup. In your org
asset.
You know what?
Oh no, I have this. I know I'm supposed to present this.
Okay,
later.
let's go. What do you got?
This is our coup crusher. No, I'm just kidding. We made this bat that we give out to folks. You are one of very few people who have it.
I really appreciate it.
If you also want one and you're like, I need a bat, you can buy it for $69.99
Okay.
on our Shopify store.
All right.
We made this as a joke, but sometimes I do have to carry around the bat. But the origin story of the bat is I have a friend. He runs a pepper spray company.
Okay.
And we were graduating college, and he was like, Fry, I don't want to go into finance. I need to do something entrepreneurial. I'm going to make the Lululemon of pepper spray. And I was like, what does that mean? And it turns out it's pepper spray with pastel packaging. But he launched it. It blew up with a certain demographic of adult workers in the country, and he was like, that's not exactly what I intended. I thought more of like the New York City girl would buy it. So he was like, crap, I gotta get it out there. And so he started running Facebook ads, and Facebook banned his ad account because it's a weapon. So he was like, what could I make that would be hilarious and drive people to my website? He was like, I'm gonna make a bat. So he made the bat. Turns out the people who buy the bat are not the people who buy pastel pepper spray. So he stopped running ads to the bat and had a bunch of bats. And I was like, dude, let's do a JV collab. You're an American small business making defense products.
And that was your first company?
No. We just started doing this.
It's amazing.
A couple months ago.
It's
all
right. Worst, not the coup, but worst.
Sorry.
No, we let it go free flow.
Yeah. I think it was probably like in 2022 or so, we were running low on capital, and I had done one of those things where
capital or cash to run the whole co.
Cash around the whole co, and we weren't structured as this operate to own structure at the time. We were making more of like transactional revenue and carry from running that equity capital markets business.
Yep.
And I had just been told no by everyone. And I think I had like 5 of the last people in the pipeline from a fundraising perspective all came in, and they're like, no. And I think it was at that moment that I was like, I've just spent 2.5 years trying to crack this problem. There's probably some hiring stuff going along. I was just very low at that moment. There's other like more dramatic stuff over like having to fire someone or people quitting or like deal going sideways. But that's like you sign up for. I think it was like at the time the team was relatively small. And that was probably, it was around that era. Because we've gone through this weird capital cycle over the past 5 years where it's like everything's super hot, everything's off, everything's hot. And then if you don't time your runway to align with when it's like hot or cold, you can get like SOL quite quick.
Everything I do is MOIC, not IR. I'm bad on timing.
Met Rajiv Misra, who used to run SoftBank and now runs 1IM. And I was chatting with him, and he's an absolute character, as you would expect. And something IR came up. He's like, "Whoa," in like an Indian accent. Like, I don't believe in IR.
It's game too much. PE guys warehouse things on the balance sheet, and then call capital 6 months later to get 6 months off, and all, like, it's gamed. I've never met a PE fund in their pitch book that didn't say they were first quartile fund by some measure. It just always happens. Okay,
sorry, that's probably the lowest kind of work moment in the American operator journey.
What is your biggest piece of advice to new entrepreneurs or founders or sellers?
The first one, which is probably generally just to young people, when I was 17, a mentor told me, Will, it doesn't matter how much money you make. It doesn't matter the logos on your resume. The only thing that matters is optimizing for the most amount of learnings per day. If you do that, everything else will take care of itself. And I did that. All my friends went to GS and Lord knows where in New York. I started a company in college, did that for the first year, so on and so forth. I think that's thing one. Thing two is I think you want to find a mission that matters and then just get started. Because like your idea isn't going to be the idea that works. Sure. You're going to iterate around. But it's like the mission and why you're doing what you do that makes you willing to just get like kicked in the teeth every day, multiple times.
I got one of those anonymous questions last night. My laptop had died, charger outlet. And somebody said, when do I jump out on my own? And I responded, when you think you're 75% ready. Yeah. What number do you think you should feel like you're ready to jump out on your own?
That's probably right. Like some of us are just broken. Like I did it since I was in middle school. I was like building, in retrospect, terrible iOS applications. But if you're not mentally challenged and broken like I am, I think, it's probably 70%. Just got to do it. And your like opportunity cost is never what you think it is.
And I have met, so I had associates that would work for me and they would go across the street for like $35K. And my former deal partner was a gem. And I'm like, you got a good mentor. You're not going to really get that much more carry. You can't underwrite you don't know what they're going to buy. That headline number matters as much to finance professionals as the headline number does to founders selling their business. That headline number is so important.
It's crazy. It's important. But I think like the other thing is like the more orthogonal or weird of a thing you do, the easier it is for you to get right back in where you left. So like I was with
interest. Wait. You're saying if you go to another place and it sucks, or you do a slight pivot, if you go something so off the reservation, you can tell the story and come back.
100%. Like,
that's interesting.
So there's like
that's really good.
There's this really cool guy who works in the office of the CFO of the SBA right now. With Kelly, they have an incredible team. Anyways, he left Blackstone to come do this. So he took like Lord knows what the pay cut was. I know he's getting paid $60K right now. I'm sure he wasn't getting paid.
I talked to him
$60K
through a recruiter one time. Whoa.
Yeah, and he was telling me when he was leaving, all the associates, VPs, and principals were trying to talk him out. You're crazy. What are you doing? You're ruining your life. The people at Blackstone who encouraged him to do it were all the MDs.
Yeah.
They're like, dude, that is so cool.
Interesting.
Like, if you like go for a year or two, like do your time. If if you realize you love that world, like figure out a way to stay in it. And if you want to come back, you always have a seat here. And so I think the more wild and weird of a thing you do, the better.
So I actually said, so Swaney Group's 4th birthday is next month or like ish. And one of my buddies that roasts me all the time he said to me, this went from being a question mark to being like, okay.
Yeah.
And like
that's fun. When that and it's only like flipped for us in the past probably year-ish.
Yeah.
When did it flip for y'all?
What's that?
When did it flip for y'all?
When we dropped the press release in April.
So recently.
Yeah. So yeah. Well, some of the like
But mentally for you.
Oh,
it probably
for me,
did
when
before,
did it flip?
Right?
I'll tell you the full story offline.
Okay.
2025 was tough. My father passed while I was on a fundraising call with a placement agent, and I got a text message that popped up that said Dad passed. I'll tell you the rest of the story later. 2025 was tough. Lost 2 deals. My phone can still ring to go be an OP or go to a Portco. Yeah. I don't think I could do it. I really don't. Money has become less important to me, ironically.
Yeah.
Versus, you know what? But I travel more. I work more than I've worked for the last 3 months of anything. But if I need to, nobody's telling me where to be.
Yeah.
And
like I think money is. It's important for a scorecard of like the impact that you have.
It is, but ours not equal to one.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
for sure. Like I don't like there are way easier ways to make money than either of these two things.
Yeah.
So you're not in it for the money, but it is like a good like if you can do it well and it makes money, then it's like okay, you can pour
for
gasoline.
me like a ratio of impact on the world to like money to good to inspirational is submarine captain. And obviously I'm biased.
Yeah.
For being there.
You missed the torpedo launch.
I missed the torpedo launch. I missed it.
Tragic.
I have a funny story about
How many times did you watch that video?
50.
Yeah.
I took calls. We'd watch that call. It hasn't happened in 80 years or what? 80-ish years, 44, 44 or something. I don't even know why they did that. We have better ways to take out both than that. I think they just wanted to see if we could do
definitely
it.
for the boys.
It was for, oh my God. Everybody called me and they were, you could tell where they were. They're like, I don't know where you sit politically, but that was awesome.
Yeah.
And then I got the super F yeah. And then I got the, man.
Definitely help recruiting.
Yeah. Well, that's why they do this, right?
Yeah.
I went to boot camp in 1998. Top Gun came out in like 87 or 82. There were still people going, dude, there were going to be Airedales. Like, it was like ridiculous. And Top Gun 2, like, saved Hollywood. It's wild he did 35 years later, right? 3 wrap-up questions. Tell me about what kind of people should get in touch with you. What can you be helpful with? Your capital solution. What are you looking to acquire? Give me a little bit about your buy box and the kind of person. I know we talked a little bit about it earlier, but let's make it a little more pithy.
Yeah. So, first and foremost, we're looking to meet owners in need of a successor to take over their business. We want folks who are mission aligned and care about keeping them in their communities. If you're in manufacturing, the trades, distribution, you have a business that makes anywhere from $750K to $2 million of profits on a yearly basis, like reach out. We'd love to meet you. We are not like finance bros. We're not going to come across and hit you with a data request. We'll fly out and meet you, and we'll have someone on a plane shortly. So I'd say that's kind of thing one. Thing two is if you've put your time in the trenches and you're ready to get yours and achieve your American dream, give us a call. We'd love to get you on the bench so that we're looking around for deals where you could be the owner-operator, become the majority owner. And then lastly, if you just love America and Main Street, hit me up. We do fun stuff. We're a fun company. We're not lame. And we're very proud.
Who that's searching or says I'm an independent sponsor shouldn't call you?
Don't call me.
If you're doing those things.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
No, don't call me.
So you want founders?
They call me a lot, though.
How do you talk to them?
Well, I'm nice. I'm a nice person. I want everyone to win, but like, they're gonna take 30 to 45 minutes of your time to ask you the same questions, and then they're going to go away, and about a third of them in 2 years maybe bought a business.
I bet third's high.
It's probably high.
What? So
I mean, they're not bad people, and you can make a life-changing outcome through search and an independent sponsor, and yeah. So that's not what we do.
What?
We're looking for people who aren't trying to go buy a business. They're trying to become an owner.
How are you finding them?
We have a cracked recruiting team. We have two people on our board who are the second and third coming of Christ, in my opinion. One is this guy named Barish Akis, who's the most under the radar guy of all time. He's the sickest talent person ever. If you Google him, you'll realize he did like all the talent stuff related to efficiency in Washington a little bit ago, and he's heavily involved in a bunch of other talent stuff. He's just amazing. So his team has helped us build out like all of our operator sourcing, and then also the stuff we do at the Portco. Second person is a guy named Joe Lonsdale, who co-founded Palantir and a bunch of other stuff. He's been huge for helping frame both like the narrative and the mission and how we talk about American Operator, but then also the advisor program was his idea. He's like, Will, you got all these owners who love you, who are retired, and like they say on the phone, they're like, the only reason I was married 40 years is I worked 40 hours a week. Like, give me something to do because they just cashed out.
So I've tried at 3 different orgs to keep an advisor network together.
Yeah,
and it's almost like centrifugal force like pulls them apart.
Yeah,
because like if you're not paying them, like you can't pay 80 advisors to do, you know what I mean, for nothing. No. Like, how do you keep that together?
2 things. One, Chloe, who runs it, is a legend.
Okay.
She's just epic.
Can I meet Chloe?
Yeah.
I got you.
She is a complete stud. They all love her. We have like the CEO of Foga de Chao as an advisor. It's insane. Just like she's really smart. She used to work at GS. She like loves the mission, is able to like attract these.
But what's the cadence? Because I've tried quarterly check-ins. Third of people attend.
Yeah,
I've tried dinners.
That's answer. Piece 1 is finding Chloe. Piece 2 is like we have a mission that's like cool. If you're not mission driven, then it's like whatever. For us, it's like, hey, you probably want to give back and let the younger version of yourself achieve success. You don't want to deal with a bunch of schmucks who don't really know what they're doing. So we're going to bring you pre-vetted, like we're here to win people. And then the network writ large, the touch points are relatively few and far between. It's like as we get a deal in the pipe and we want your eyes on it to help us, like, are we going to do this?
Yep.
Are we going to do it? Like, help us then. But we're not like hop on the phone. And then as part of them joining the board, we require that they co-invest in the deal.
They have to.
They have to. Then we give them
$100,000, $50,000, or $250,000 or
50.
Just
50.
It's just meaningful
enough that like we want you to be penalized and rewarded by your advice. This is not like a score mentors thing.
Fair enough.
Like we want you to have skin in the game. So I forgot what the original question is, but
how does she keep the advisors on tap so they will move when
relationship?
Relationship.
Just on the phone. And we have yeah, it's crazy. We have events too. Like we had Kelly Loeffler swing by the office, and we brought some of the advisors to like meet her. And
I need to know better people. All right, last question I ask everybody: what is the book that has had the most impact on your life?
My answer is going to be so lame.
No, it's okay.
Fountainhead.
I never even wait. Who are
Ayn Rand?
Oh, I have read that.
I was one of those who got red pilled as a 15-year-old.
Why did it have an impact on your life?
I think it's a little bit because of like how I was raised. So I'm really lucky with the parents and grandparents I grew up with. Like their values, they're like super community driven. Like my grandfather was like built the Vietnam Veterans Memorial in Goldsboro, was like in the Kiwanis Club.
Wait,
blah
you
blah
were
blah.
in Goldsboro? I was in Fayetteville.
Vietnam.
Yeah.
I was in Greenville, so my grandparents. Goldsboro is where my mom. Yeah, we have Seymour Johnson, which they try to shut down every time it persists. Anyways, so like growing up, it was way more. And my mom graduated like number 1 in her medical class. Like went to Duke undergrad. She's like crack smart.
You're a Duke fan?
I'm sorry. Oh. She's crack smart, but what she did is she could have done like radiology, even OBGYN, all this other stuff. She became the worst paid doctor of all time. General practitioner in Eastern North Carolina, where she spent like at least 1 day a week doing medicine for all the farm workers who were all that type of stuff. So like I had that extreme, which is that like the country matters, the Puritan, like I hate myself, I'm gonna like be on a tight
budget. Sort of shtick where humbleness is actually like haughty and prideful.
I think they actually believe it. It's just like frugality to the nth degree. Like, don't do things for money, do things for Christian values, blah, blah. So I think that was like the nice counterbalance of like, oh, Ayn Rand told me to be a selfish, you know what. And
what
that,
is
like,
it?
All that matters.
Objectivist, I forget.
I mean, it's like phony logic and ethics. Like, it's not real, but I think it was a healthy counterbalance of like, go build stuff. Like,
what would you recommend someone that says a founder that's 50 book to read, or like?
I would do one of two. I would do either The First Tycoon, which is Cornelius Vanderbilt's biography, is epic. The cool takeaway from that, there's takeaways from
I've never read this. I'm going to read that.
Read it. It's really good. The coolest is that he made most of his money from railroads. He didn't get started in railroads until he was 65, I want to say.
Wow.
He was in his 60s.
I had no idea.
And like, that was the vast majority of his wealth.
It's
So
like
I think
Colonel Sanders.
that's a lesson that's like, you can wait late in life.
Yeah, I started at 40.
Like, he still built steamboats. He wasn't poor, but you know, he waited.
Well, the young entrepreneur is the exception, not the rule. The 23-year-old.
For sure.
That's like
yeah. And then I think the other thing is working backwards. The Amazon organizational philosophy.
I was there, and it was, look, I learned a lot of stuff there.
Yeah.
Not for me.
Yeah.
It was their machine.
Their machine.
I just never could get excited.
We haven't built out the entire machine, but parts of it, like the general concept of working backwards, I think is thoughtful.
100%. No, Bezos is a genius, just to be clear. But I went from a nuclear submarine to a refinery that was basically a giant bomb to taking books out of boxes and putting them back in other boxes. And I just never got like into it. I make a joke that the McKinsey did a pretty good job of screening out the MBA a-holes.
Yeah.
I felt like Amazon screened them in.
Interesting. I would have bet the opposite.
No. Oh, absolutely.
From the outside looking in.
Very few a-holes at McKinsey. It was actually a very well-mannered place.
Interesting. All right. Well, I know we're wrapping up.
We're wrapping up. What you got?
We got your bat.
Dude,
so
I gotta get like a whole.
You can protect Main Street.
Thank you very much
From the private.
So while we're talking about that, why do you not? What's your structural problem with your beef with PE? That's a good way to say it.
My beef.
Same as my beef with course sellers.
Yeah, probably directionally. Like, private equity is not evil, and I'm a capitalist. I think that like there's a lot of private equity that is just kind of fictional spreadsheets and people who don't really know what they're doing. And I think 60% of the return is from EBITDA multiple expansion and leverage. Another 40% is like operational improvement. But nowadays you have to grow 2.5 times faster than you ever had before to get the same return.
Absolutely.
And I don't know. I think you want a nation of owners, and I don't think that the default plan should be you sell to some shop with some
with no
VP.
interest in the Main Street, like
no interest, and the money gets sucked out of the community. It goes back to Greenwich, and then they're actually doing a huge duty for us. They're helping the endowments invest their money. We should thank you.
Have you heard Malcolm Gladwell's podcast on endowments? Have you heard this?
This is our.
What do you got for me?
This is a fire hat.
All right, this is the best. All right, I might wear this out tonight instead of my.
I wore it when I was in New York last, and I got some looks. And this lady was like, "What does that say?" And then she read it, and she was like,
Okay, all right. So you love America. Who in the family of yours was in the military? Anybody?
Yeah, I mean, my whole dad's side of the family. That's why we spent so much time in Fayetteville. Yeah, so 82nd Airborne Ranger, and then my dad's brother was Pope, which they renamed, right?
I'm sure they did. But they named Bragg back, right? The Battle of David. All right, I have to play this now because I'm all fired up about America and your vision. Hopefully there's no ad. We can cut it out. Do you know this?
No. What is this?
All right, we're going to have a drink and a cheers. Okay. You haven't heard this?
No. Oh, yeah. Team America. Let's go.
All right. Where do we get in touch with you?
Find me on X. I don't post too much, but I post sometimes. Buy, sell, S&B. LinkedIn. I post on LinkedIn. Come to Austin. Come hang out with us.
If I come to Austin,
we have a fun office.
We're going to Austin. I'm in Shreveport for the deal. I moved down there probably for a year.
No way.
Yeah.
Committed. Is that where you're flying from?
Oh, it's brutal to get here. It's a connection anywhere, and it's very expensive.
No way.
Yeah, I'll tell you more in a second. But anyway, everybody talk to Will Fry. He's on X. He's on LinkedIn. If you got a business that you want to sell, your founder.
If you want to keep it locally owned and operated.
Keep it locally
Keep the American dream alive. Don't sell out.
I have a deal for you.
Unless it's DePaul.
LOI, I'm putting next week. I have
okay.
a deal for you. All right, guys, thanks so much. Appreciate you. Awesome.
Dude, let me get the photo of you with the hat. This is amazing.
Thank you for joining us on Lever Up. We trust today's conversation provided meaningful insights into private equity and entrepreneurship. Stay connected by subscribing to our podcast for upcoming episodes.